Hello and welcome to your Yin Yoga practice for today. So good to see you all here. People simply coming online at the moment. My name is Guy. I'm here in, hi Guy, hi Diane. I'm here in Victoria, British Columbia on the west coast of Canada. Sort of a gray day here today. For this class, for this Yin class, you may want to have some props at hand. The props that I've got at hand, you can see I'm sitting on a bolster. I've got a couple of blocks as well. You could alternatively use a couple of big heavy books. We've all got a few of those. Or maybe you grab the sham pillow off the back of your bed or a couple of pillows off the couch. So having those things available. Hello, Jolene. Yeah, that'll help to assist during the practice. Hello, Barbara. And so to begin the practice, you'll need to find your way into a comfortable seat. I like to sit up on a bolster. We'll be here for a minute or two. And throughout the practice, we'll be holding our postures for a few minutes at least. And just a reminder that, as always, these offerings are done freely by myself and supported by your generosity, your dana, if you were to use a Pali or a Buddhist term. So donations graciously accepted and as kind of part of the process. Finding that comfortable seat. Thank you, Sierra. And hello, Laura. Find a comfortable seat. Take a slightly bigger inhale and a longer exhale as you close your eyes. And welcome once again, my worldwide friends, to your Yin Yoga practice. As you rest here into your seat, allow your awareness to descend into the base of your body, feeling nicely rooted, nice and heavy. And at the same time, tall and relaxed. Find a comfortable, easy, natural rhythm to your breathing, and just settling into that flow. Throughout this practice and most meditation practices, we're endeavoring to stay alert at the doors of the senses. I'll just guide you through a bit of practice for that. These doors are the 5 senses plus a 6th sense in both Buddhist and yoga philosophy. The mind itself is seen as a sense, the 6th sense. So being alert to hearing, sense of sound, but not really listening, not going out to seek sound, but simply receiving and allowing sound to be heard. Noting the awareness of sight, even with your eyes closed, the play of light on your eyes. You're able to see. Similarly, you're not seeking outward, you're not looking, not trying to identify. Sight is simply happening. Similarly with smell and taste, sensations arising, but no need to identify. Feeling into your body. Noticing sensations arise everywhere in the body. and giving no preference, no good or bad to these sensations, simply arising. And lastly, of course, the mind. Noticing any thoughts arising. This is what minds do, they think. And endeavoring not to get wrapped up in those thoughts as we sit here. And with this present, calm demeanor, we'll continue our practice from here. Take another big inhale. A long exhale, sigh, and gently open up your eyes. Shifting forwards, if you're sitting on a block or anything, take that out of the way for the time being. And the first pose we'll take is a little bit more challenging. It's to sort of wake up the lower body, is a squat. So for a squat, taking the feet as wide as your mat or wider, heels turned slightly in, and letting your bum sink down. Now, different capabilities as it relates to a squat. So it could be that you're perched up quite high. If that's the case, you could build yourself a little bit of a seat and sit down on it. Or maybe there's not much flexion at your ankles. You could tip forwards and place your hands forwards, or even place something underneath your heels at the back to offer you a little bit of support. Or finally, for those fortunate enough to be able to sit in a squat, letting your feet be nice and flat and your hands simply placed somewhere comfortable for you. Now, in the Yin Yoga practice, there's 3 basic principles that we're trying to adopt. The first is the body. We're allowing the body to be nice and still, your body to be still and calm. Sensations will and are arising, but we're not trying to get involved with them. Just allowing them. If it's pain, of course, you need to move. Similar with the breath, your breath is easy, slow, and natural. Trying to find a place where there's no suffering for the next breath. And lastly, the mind, as we did in the opening meditation, the mind is calm and clear, spacious like the open sky. Thoughts will arise, and we're simply allowing them to be seen and watching them dissipate and move through, much like clouds moving through the sky. So, still body, easy breathing, clear mind. And now, that's probably enough. I'll just mark the end of each pose with a little ding here. Allow yourself to place your hands probably behind you. Sit down, extend your legs out nice and long, and give them a little bit of a shake. In between each yin pose, typically there's a period of simply resting back in, of neutralizing the effects of what we've just done. So allowing that to happen. And then we'll begin to shift to our next pose. We'll start this time from our hands and knees, so-called tabletop position. And here, just lean a little bit to the left and bring your right foot forwards in front of you, or in between your hands. This pose is called dragon pose. So for a dragon pose, there's many options, and you need to choose the one that works best for you, the one where you can remain calm in the body, breath, and mind. So option 1 is to simply rest here on your upper thigh with the torso. Next option, well, is with the back leg. Your back leg, the knee could be right underneath your hip, or it could be quite a bit further back. It really depends on what kind of sensation you want through the front of that left hip. I'll just keep going from there. Right hand could come inside your right foot as you walk the right foot out to the side. Or you could even roll to the outside edge of your right foot. Or maybe even just place a hand there. It's a little bit more active in its flavor. I don't like that one myself. You could, from here, one that I do like, bring the bolster towards you and lean on the bolster with your elbows and rest in here. So many options. I'll show you one other one. Maybe your forehead or neck are a bit cranky. You can place some blocks on top of the bolster and rest your forehead on those blocks. So finding the shape that works for you, and then sustaining that shape for time. And at first, the focus is to find that stillness in your body. We're not trying to go to some extreme, but rather to a place that we can hold for time. Where we can breathe easily, naturally. There's no suffering, as I say, for the breath. And where your mind doesn't complain, or at least doesn't complain too much. And simply watching the breath rise and fall. These kinds of practice, the Yin practice, physiologically is targeting our non-muscular tissues. So it's focusing more into creating a load or a stress into the ligaments, tendons, bones, bursae, joint capsules. All of the non-muscular tissues of the body are affected by this practice. Easy breathing. And now from here, as a transition or neutralizing, slowly come back up if you're descended. And I'll give you a couple of options and you decide what you need to do. Maybe a half monkey where you stretch that right leg and find a good sense of extension. Maybe child's pose, simply to relax in. Maybe downward dog, so you paddle your legs. Just taking a few moments to allow yourself to neutralize the effects of what you've just done. And staying calm, staying present throughout the transition. So the entire practice is a practice of mindfulness, not just when we're in the poses. I'm sorry, I forgot to ding the bell, didn't I? I might remember, I might forget. Let's move to the other side. So again, starting from hands and knees position, we'll bring that left foot forwards. And then I'll just go through the options again so that it's clear. Resting your upper body on the upper thigh and balancing there. An option I didn't provide on the other side, maybe you want to rest your forehead on a bolster. That might work. Or you walk your left foot out to the side, left hand inside the left foot, right leg maybe is walking back a bit. Maybe you're rolling open into that outer left foot, maybe a little bit of lean there. I find this a bit too much for the shoulder myself. Or bolster in front of you and coming down onto your elbows. here again, I'm not demonstrating the full extent of each of these poses, since I need to talk as well. I'm trying to find that place of easiness in the body, a place where you can sustain for several minutes, a place where your breathing is normal and natural, slow. And your mind is not disturbed too much, not disturbed too much. So what do you do with that mind? Like sensation is arising perhaps in the right hip or the left hip. Maybe it's a bit cranky. And try and just sense without putting a color onto it. So just sensing the sensation arising without calling it good or bad. Simply feel what's arising without putting that duality on top of it. That's very much part of a mindfulness or a Vipassana style practice of meditation. Lovely. Letting things develop, letting things shift. You will note if you focus on a sensation for a period of time that it's not pinpointed. It tends to shift and move, change its color and flavor. And again, let's shift either, as I said before, taking half monkey, might feel nice, or child's pose, that feels really nice, or maybe downward dog, and sort of moving the legs a little bit. All of these intended to bring a little bit of relief and neutralizing effect to what we've just done. Receiving the gifts of your practice. For our next pose, we'll start from a seated position. And I'll give you two options. It depends on really what's going on in your body or what it is you actually need today. So we'll begin with your left knee in the front, and then take your right foot over top of that knee, just outside the knee. So first option is simply a seated twist. So right foot across the left knee. Take your right hand, place it behind you, almost like a second spine, get nice and tall, and then a gentle turn to the right. Maybe you use your hand to draw your knee across the body. We use the elbow. And then sink into that. So that's option one. Option two is shoelace pose. A little bit more internal rotation for the hips. You take that right knee and stack it on top of the left as best you can. Not accessible to all bodies, that's for sure. So it may be that you wedge a block in there or something like that. And then with the knees roughly stacked, you can hold on to the feet, your feet, or your shins. And you could even fold forwards a little bit, accentuating that internal rotation, particularly in this body, in the right hip. So you take one of those options, you make it work for your body. That's a key thing. We need to make the practice work for you, we don't try to force your body into some idealized form. So use props, make it work for you. Sinking in, again, to a quiet, calm body and breath, a clear mind. This style of practice can be seen very much as a moving, slow meditation. Again, I mentioned a Vipassana style meditation, focusing on your breath as you remain in these poses could be quite beneficial. So noticing the breath slowly rising, and falling. Maintaining that awareness of the breath throughout the pose. If and when thoughts or distractions, noises, sights, whatever arise, note that they're arising. So hearing, seeing, thinking, and come back eventually to the breath as those dissipate. Slowly unwind, probably lean back, extend your legs out front, and give them a little bit of a shake, or maybe you flip your legs back and forwards, whatever would make things feel a little bit nicer, let that happen. And then we'll make our way to the next side. So this time the right knee is in front of you, the right foot just outside the left hip. And then take your left foot across the knee. And I just noticed on this side, my left bum is a little bit off the ground. You could put a little bit of support there if need be. For the twist, you're using your left hand as a bit of support behind you. And then gently turning to the left, staying nice and tall. And then relaxing in there. Sure notice this on my outer left hip. Oh my. And then option 2 is the shoelace pose, stacking your knees one atop the other roughly, using any kind of support underneath the knees that you need. And then offering any kind of loading through a forward fold that may be beneficial to you. So you create a shape that's appropriate for you, and then you commit to that shape. Find stillness in your body. No need to fidget or look around. Simply be in your body. Allow your breath rate to slow down and feel comfortable. Settle your mind. Settling your mind again into your breathing. Rising. Falling. Distractions are coming in whatever form, outside the body, inside the body. Noticing them, not pushing them away, just noticing them. Noticing that you're noticing them and letting them dissipate as you come back to to the object of your breath. If at any point there's any kind of pain arising, of course you need to back away from that. Or if there's a call from the body itself to descend into or twist into the pose a bit further, notice that and then decide whether or not that would be appropriate for you to do. Slowly unwind, lean back, extend your legs out front, give a little bit of a shake, do whatever would feel good. And we'll take one more seated pose before we get onto our backs. So again, I'll offer you a couple of options here. The first one is called caterpillar, and the second one's called dragonfly. So they're both forward folds. You may want to have your bolster or your sham pillow or whatever available to you. So first option is caterpillar, your legs together. Take your hands out front like this, or hands out front, sorry, I'm being distracted. Bolster out front and place it on your body and fold forwards. And just round in, settling into a lovely forward fold. That's option one. Option two, same sort of shape, simply taking your legs a bit wider. This is dragonfly, and then again, place the bolster in front of you and fold forwards. Try to keep your spine fairly long from the tailbone to the mid-spine. And then if you would like, you could let your head relax at the end, offering a little bit of thoracic rounding at the top of the spine. The breath is rising, rising, falling, falling. Again, try not to fall into duality in terms of the sensation, so it's not, oh my bad right hip. It's sensations are arising in the right hip. Simply noticing them, watching them, allowing them to shift and change. All things are ephemeral. All things change with time. Again, one of the fundamental teachings from Buddhism. Everything changes. Allowing things to shift. Nothing is permanent. Notice if you're carrying any tension in parts of the body that really don't need to participate in the pose. So, for example, through your neck or your face. Finding a relaxed quality in your jaw. Just breathing here. legs up. Shift that bolster. If you've got a bolster or whatever, anything sort of supportive, place it behind you now, right up against your sacrum. Take any kind of transitional movement, so cross-legged or flip-flop the legs, any kind of movement that would feel good. And our next pose will be reclining bound angle. We could do this either as a forward fold or as a reclining. I'll explain them. So first option, place the bolster behind you, bottoms of your feet together. And then simply walk your hands back and rest on the bolster. Now that may be a bit intense for somebody, so for me, I like to take a block and place it way up at the head end of the bolster so I get more of an angle, and that's a bit more comfortable. Sometimes I also like to take another block and place it at the tail end and place my bum on that. So that's a nice option. This is called reclining bound angle. You can have your arms out nice and wide. The forward folding version, bound angle, is simply to hold on to your ankles or your feet and fold forwards. Or there's another pose called oyster shell, where you take your feet a little further away and dive your hands underneath your shins, hold your feet, and round in. So there's three similar choices for you. Finding the one that works best in your body. And I will stay more upright here so that I can guide you along in the practice. And those that are reclining on their backs, allow a softness through the upper chest, really finding that spaciousness of each and every breath, allowing the breath to move not just in the upper chest, but into the side ribs, the low ribs, even feeling into the back as you breathe. Those that are more folded forwards, sense your breathing into your back. So forward folding poses tend to be quite introspective in their nature. And by putting awareness into your back, you can counter that introspective quality of the pose. In other words, taking away the tendency of the mind to get into the I, me, mine, and the kind of mulling quality that tends to happen when we're turned inwards. Simply here on the floor, in a shape, breathing, staying nice and calm and relaxed, allowing sensations to rise and fall. Not being called out by distractions like my ice maker. Nice. And then from here, we'll make our transition. For those that are reclining forwards, you might want to sit up. For those that are reclining, you're probably also going to need to sit up and simply move your bolster off to one side or the other. From here, let's all lay down on our backs. So find your way onto your back, reclining. And just remaining there for several breaths, maybe moving your legs a bit, letting things soften. And as a transitional pose on our back, just so we don't fall asleep, take both legs and both arms up towards the sky, to the ceiling, and just dangle there. Feeling a sense of heaviness of the hips into the hip sockets, the shoulders into the shoulder sockets. We can twirl our wrists and ankles a few times. And maybe just shake them out gently. And slowly bring your feet back down to the mat. Flip-flopping the knees side to side. Nice. And now we'll take a couple of reclining twists, and then we're going to be into Savasana and the close of the practice. So here, let's take your feet as wide as the mat, and then take both knees over to the left. So your right knee is coming down somewhere beside your left foot. Now there's an option here to take your left foot and place it on top of that right knee and hold it down. You can also take your right hand and reach it way overhead, creating a nice sense of extension all along the right side of the body. I don't recall the name of this in Yin, but it's also known as a piriformis stretch. Excuse me. Now, if there's any part of the body that's tend to be hovering off the ground, so for example, my left knee is hovering off the ground, you could take a block or something, place it underneath the knee for a bit of support. And or you could also take a bolster and wedge it up against the right side of your body and rest into that a little bit, creating lots of supports that allow you to really relax into the shape that you've created. That's nice. I like this. So again, adapting the pose however you need to make it work for you and your body today. Feel your breath rising and falling. Relax your facial features, maybe even close your eyes. Ride on those waves of breath. I think I could rest here for quite a long time. But we've only got 45 minutes, so let's continue. Slowly unwind finding back to a neutral position and taking away any of the props that you were using. And remaining in that gentle neutral spot. Just for a few breaths. Taking any kind of intuitive movement that would feel good to you. There's no right or wrong here. It's just you and your body befriending this current moment. And then we'll take it over to the other side now. So feet as wide as your mat, knees bent. Drop your left knee in, your right knee out, so flop them over to the right. Excuse me. And then maybe taking that right ankle and holding the left knee down. For me, I need to take my block and place it underneath my right knee for a bit of support. And I do like to take the bolster and wedge it up against my left bum cheek, my left back, and take the left arm nice and long and rest in here. Now just a reminder, a little bit of self-promotion if you will, I don't know. I am recording this session, and if you look at my profile on Insight Timer, you'll probably find a video of this in the next few days. So breath rising and falling, nice and easy. Relaxing your face. And dissipating any kind of tendency of the body to grip or hold or resist the shape that we've created. Here you might notice you're breathing into the left side of your body, the left rib cage. Finding a sense of expansiveness there. Receiving each breath fully and completely. And even here, the meditation continues. Your breath is rising, rising, falling, falling. Keeping your awareness present with that. Avoiding any tendency towards sinking into lethargy or dullness. While this is comfortable, the intent is to remain present with each and everything that we do in the practice. And then from this place, again, unwind, remove any props that may be there, and we'll make our way to our final pose, Savasana. And again, we've got options here. Option one, classic version, simply lying on the mat, palms face up, feet flopping open. If you're near a wall, option two would be legs up the wall, taking your legs right up a wall and resting in. That can be quite restorative. Option three, that bolster, you could place it underneath your knees. That's super comfortable. And option 4 would be what's known as heart bed, lying down on the bolster like we did in the reclining bound angle and resting in there. So finding your way to your final shape. Letting your eyes close. And sinking into a gentle rise and fall of your breathing. And noticing the sensation of breath at the tip of your nose. Noticing that gentle coolness of your inhale. And the gentle warmth of your exhale. Noticing the sensation in both nostrils. Endeavoring to find a place where both nostrils feel equally open. If something feels a little stuck, focus on that side. Bringing in a sense of balance. There's two sides of the body, the two sides of the brain. And from here, you can continue in reclining or join me in seated, whichever way you like to conclude your practice. With your eyes closed, you're reclining, one hand on the heart, one hand on the low abdomen, or if you're seated, hands at the heart. Closing with a few metta phrases. I'll speak them and you can say them back to yourself in your mind. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well within my body and within my mind. May I meet each moment with acceptance. And may I be peaceful and at ease. Friends, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well within your body and your mind. May you meet each moment with acceptance. And may you be peaceful and at ease today. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Hope to see you again soon. Taking a shared breath together. Exhale to empty. Nice big inhale. And a long sigh. Wishing you a really beautiful day ahead of you. I'll remain online here for a few minutes. Just a reminder as I close, as I said at the start of the practice, I'm offering these practices freely and endeavoring to make all of my practices dana-based or generosity-based. So very much appreciate any support that you have to offer. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Angel. I'm glad you've enjoyed this. So, yep, I'll be back here this Thursday with more classical hatha practice and intend to be here most every Tuesday and Thursday. Thursday. If there's anything that you would like to see, certainly happy to offer those. And really rest into this grounded centeredness that you found today. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you, Dottie. Really appreciate your support. Barbara. I'm looking at the computer in front of me rather than the one that I'm filming with. Love your classes and your calming energy. So very grateful for you in this community. Oh, that's lovely, Barbara. I hope to see you again soon. Do you do Yang and Yin Yoga? Yes, I do. I offer a fusion of many different styles, and I could do a Yang Yin style practice sometime. I'll certainly consider that. It's a good suggestion. So for those that are watching, thank you, Terza. Yang Yin would be a more active half of the practice, and then a more passive Yin second half of the practice. So we get the energy moving, and then we rest in at the end. So certainly open to doing a class such as that going forwards. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day. Take care.